Welcome to Game Changers Silicon Valley, a show about today's emerging innovations that may be the game changers of tomorrow. My name is Jim Connor, and I will be your host. We see innovation taking place at an aggressive and accelerating rate. Recently, I learned that innovation is also gaining traction in the trucking industry, and this innovation may very well spread to other transportation methods. My guest is Chuck Price, Vice President of Cloud Services at Peloton Technology. Chuck, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I understand your team is making a bold play in the trucking industry. Can you tell us about Peloton?
Thank you very much for having us. Peloton Technology is a startup here in the Valley in Mountain View. We are in the business of improving the efficiency and safety of large trucks by bringing them close together, connecting them electronically.
Mm-hmm. Is this a physical connection or software, or how does that work?
This is an electronic connection that uses a variety of sensors that you are now seeing in many automotive applications. And it implements a technology called platooning.
I see. And so a second truck is connected to a lead truck, and it takes advantage of the wind vacuum created by the lead truck to pull the second truck along?
That's essentially correct. We bring the two trucks very close together. Mm-hmm. In other worlds, you might refer to this as drafting. Platooning is the term of art in the trucking industry. Okay. The trucks are brought within between 10 and 30 feet, typically, very close together. And the distance is very tightly controlled electronically.
So it sounds like it's a big gas savings for starters.
It's tremendous savings. The rear truck saves 10%, typically at 30 feet, which is where we normally run the trucks. The front truck saves almost 5%.
How does the front truck save 5%?
That's a great question. Yeah. The aerodynamic drag on a vehicle is composed of about 2/3 the wind on the front of the vehicle you can think of. A full third of the drag comes from a tremendous vacuum of vortex that's created behind the trailer. When we bring the trucks very close together, we break up that vortex. So it's essentially one long vehicle at this point, one long truck.
I see. So it creates a little mini vacuum over the length of the combined trucks, it sounds.
It eliminates the vacuum behind the front truck and makes a smaller vacuum behind the rear truck, which is then shared by both trucks.
I see. Is it 2 trucks maximum?
We're starting with 2 trucks. We can do more than 2 trucks technically, but for a variety of reasons, 2 trucks is a great start. It's easier to build the product and to get it on the market. But most importantly, we want to help the public understand what platooning is. So we're starting small. Drivers will encounter 2 truck platoons that will not appear much different than what they see on the highway today.
I see. So today you do see trucks kind of in a convoy, I'll call it that. A little more distance apart. They might be racing every now and then, but but in the future they'll be kind of in a lockstep. Is that correct?
That's correct. You do see trucks running close together today, and it's illegal. We are bringing trucks much closer together than that using what's effectively a cooperative adaptive cruise control technology with some additional sweetener that we add as part of our technology.
Some additional sweetener, that's a technology sweetener, I take it.
That's right. That's right.
You're also doing GPS on the trucks too, correct?
Yes, we have a number of sensors on the truck. We have very accurate GPS on both trucks. We have radar, and we have a special radio technology called DSRC, which is dedicated short-range radio, which is a new automotive system that allows the 2 trucks to couple their electronics so that they're effectively operating electronically as one truck. Mm-hmm.
So I read a little bit about the technology, and what was interesting is that it said that the truck that can break the it's important that the order be right, that the truck that has the biggest problem braking or brakes the slowest, I guess, goes in front always. And
correct.
The second truck is always a truck that is perhaps lighter or has a better braking system or more efficiency. Is that correct?
That's correct. And it's important to note that we are, as a service, controlling the entire platooning operation. Every platooning operation that is desired is approved by a central facility. The systems within the trucks are monitoring the mass of the trucks in real time at all times. So we know how heavy the trucks are. Plus, we know what braking systems the vehicles have. So we can determine which vehicle will stop faster at any moment. When a platooning operation is authorized, we will order the platoons so that the vehicle that takes the longest to stop is in the front. Therefore, when they both have to apply emergency brakes, the rear one won't slide into the front one.
How's this getting along with the actual truck drivers? What do they think of this technology?
We have now done about 12,000 miles of platooning on the Western highways with real drivers. Most of those are with our test drivers who are well trained, but we have also brought other drivers, professional drivers, into the fold. We find that the first time you platoon, it's a little nervous. The second truck comes very close
If you're
to the
the
front.
second truck, right?
That's right. The front truck is just driving. But then once the driver experiences the responsiveness of the vehicle to the front vehicle, he relaxes very quickly and becomes very comfortable with the system.
It sounds like the second driver is getting a free ride, if I could use that word. Kind of, hey, let the front driver do all the work. I just sort of make sure that the steering's okay. Is that an accurate statement?
It's not quite. They are still busy. They are steering. Both drivers are always steering. We provide a video feed between the vehicles, so the driver in the back can actually see what's coming ahead in the front truck. So he's actively monitoring for safety, just as the front truck driver is. So he's busy both looking at his mirrors for traffic behind him and also looking at the video ahead. He's also paying attention to the possibility of a cut-in between the two trucks. So our system also monitors that, and if it detects a vehicle attempting to cut between them, we actually back off the rear truck.
Okay. So on the efficiency side, I guess you've got some impressive numbers here, 10% on overall efficiency for gasoline, correct?
It's 10% on the rear truck, and 5% on the front truck. It's very good. If you consider that the typical large long-haul truck burns about $100,000 in fuel every year, and many fleets have thousands of trucks. UPS, for example, has over 20,000 trucks in its long-haul fleet alone. Further, when you consider that a truck fleet is a low-margin, high-risk business, generally their gross margins are about 3%. Saving them 10% on the largest single cost that they encounter is a very big deal.
I imagine so. You also have a lot of safety features. I'll let you talk about that a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have, in addition to the features that keep the vehicles from, maintain the gap between the vehicles, we have an active radar system which is active at all times. So even if the vehicles aren't platooning, they have an active braking system that's looking ahead 800 feet, and it will fully stop the vehicle if an obstacle is encountered on the roadway, and it will do this every time. So it's a very safe system that we think will dramatically reduce the potential for frontal collisions, even if the vehicle is not in a platoon. In addition, the vehicles are in constant contact with the Network Operations Center, which is feeding information to the vehicles from other vehicles in the environment about hazards that are encountered along the way, including traffic. We see lane level traffic, weather, and obstacles, road issues that come up periodically.
Trucking's a pretty big industry. I mean, I looked at the numbers. I was surprised by how big it is, and it sounds like that of all the transit we have, air, sea, rail, trucking is 70% of that.
In the trucking industry, they say if you bought it, a truck brought it, and it's a very important part of our transportation system.
What's the consumer do when they're on the highway and they see these two trucks connected by about 25 to 30 feet?
That is a great question. We are building onto the tractors of these vehicles special indicators to show that platooning is happening with these vehicles and happening legally. But otherwise, you should be able to operate around these vehicles just as you would any other vehicles. If you need to get to an exit, if you try to cut between them, the trucks will gracefully back off and allow you to move through. If you continue to stay between the trucks will break the platoon and become individual vehicles again.
I'll say that. So Chuck, how did you come to this engagement?
I was doing a company in China a few years back, and when I returned, the day I got off the plane, a dear friend of mine who also happens to be an investor in the company called me and said, "You have to meet these guys." The founders are ex-Stanford vehicle dynamics folks. One of the founders, Chris Gerdes, is a professor at Stanford and is the director for the Center of Automotive Research at Stanford. His student, Josh Switkeys, is now our CEO. Josh invented lane keeping assistance for vehicles at Stanford, which is now available in the Audi A6, by the way. So these guys are very smart folks, and it was a very interesting idea, and I immediately became an advisor. I could not stand not being a part of this. And a few months later, I decided I had to be part of it full time.
So it is a Silicon Valley-backed, investor-based company at this point, correct?
Yes, we're at Series A. We have a great set of investors and a great board.
And so you're raising the Series A now or in the near future?
We have raised a Series A. We're just closing that now. So we're looking forward to, in the coming months, our first pilots with major fleets. And hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have the first product in production.
So this could take off and be quite a game changer, I think.
Yes, I think so.
Does it have international implications?
We think that there are great opportunities in Australia, in China, in Asia in general. A little less possibility in Europe because the towns are closer together, the speeds are slower, and the highways are much more regulated. But some countries like Turkey are great opportunities for us in that region.
Commodities, products, gasoline,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. Great.
Yes.
Anything we should look for in the near future then? After your Series A is almost done now, is this maybe?
Stay tuned for the pilots. I'm sure we'll be making some noise around that as that moves forward. We're very excited about that.
If people are interested in following up with you or the company, what's the best way to reach you?
The website is the first stop, www.peloton-tech.com. And we're hiring. So if you are a software engineer and want to work in the cloud or want to work in robotics, we're a great place.
Thank you very much. I really enjoyed this, and I wish you every success with Peloton Technology. And I'm going to keep my eye on you guys too, and we'll see what happens and perhaps have you back in about 10 months to a year.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
This is Jim Connor. I'd like to thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Game Changers Silicon Valley. Each week we will address an area of innovation that may emerge as a game changer of tomorrow. We look forward to your continued interest and participation. Thank you and good night now.